have the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns did go 8-9 last season. They missed the playoffs, but they had a very active offseason. They picked up Jacoby Brissett, and they also picked up Deshaun Watson in that quarterback room, so giving them basically 3 starters right now in the quarterback room. However, they did have a draft still. So how did they do in this year's draft?
I would say this was one of the more underrated drafts. I don't think that this was an A by any means for this group, simply because they really didn't have a lot of options to pick to get A guys. Their first picks were in the 3rd round. So they didn't have a chance to get those star guys, but I will say with what they had to work with, they did a really good job. So like you just talked about, they used the picks that they traded away to get Deshaun Watson. So you get your guy, you get your quarterback, that's settled. Now you got to find something to do with Baker Mayfield. But looking at this draft, I do like what they did with what they had to work with. First off, wide receiver was an issue for this team, and this has been something since even before Odell Beckham Jr. left. And David Bell out of Purdue is a really, really solid wide receiver. I think he's a guy who can come in and he can start for you right away. And he is a guy who you can have in your lineup for a long time. I don't think he'll ever be A+ wide out, but he's just a guy who's going to come in and he's going to be a B+ guy for you every single day. He's going to work hard. He's going to catch balls and he's going to score touchdowns. And that's really all that matters for that one. After that, if you look, Cade York, LSU kicker, this was several underrated picks in this. This is one of them. Cade York, we were just talking about a punter. Now let's transition it to kicker. We all know the struggles that we've seen kickers have, especially in the recent years with kicking, because they made extra points harder. They moved it back. Really, the only position that it hasn't got easier on over time is kickers and punters. So you need a solid guy. And last year, Evan McPherson was taken to the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Cleveland Browns looked over and they were like, oh, hey, look, they had a lot of success drafting a kicker. Why don't we go do the same with a kicker who is really good and can be a guy who will stick in the league for a long time and can stay with us for a long time? So with their 4th round pick, they went and got Cade York, kicker out of LSU. And I think he's the best kicker in this draft. And like I said, I think he's a guy who we'll see around the league. The Browns are hoping in a Browns uniform for the next at least 10 to 15 years. I think he's a solid guy. After that, I was a little confused with this edition, but let me say it's still an underrated edition. Excuse me. I was still surprised and still liked their 5th round pick with Jerome Ford, running back out of Cincinnati. First off, he's already in Cincinnati. He's an Ohio guy. He understands the culture there with football and everything. So he is ready to go to play for Cleveland and be a win now kind of guy. Now, here's what I didn't understand. If you look at the Browns running back room, they've already got Nick Chubb. They've already got Kareem Hunt. They've already got Dearness Johnson sitting behind that. And then one more running back I don't remember off the top of my head. But their 4th rounder, their fourth running back. I don't remember what his name is, but since then you add Jerome Ford to the running back room, which is a nice addition out of Cincinnati, as well as Michael Woods, wide receiver out of Oklahoma, their 6th round pick. I think he's a really flashy guy who has some returning capabilities, and I think he could add to this team. And then just overall, they added a lot to the D line, and they added a little bit to the offensive line for some pad there. But the main storyline of the draft here is that the Cleveland Browns pretty much drafted Deshaun Watson. That was how I saw it. They spent the 1st round picks on Deshaun to be able to get their quarterback. So the Browns have always historically struggled with the quarterback position and drafting quarterbacks and all that. So I guess they're like, okay, after 100 tries, I guess we've learned our lesson. Let's just trade for a good quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. They've acquired Deshaun Watson. Like I said, they don't have any 1st or 2nd round picks because of it, but with the stuff they had to work with, I think they got some really solid guys overall. And their best pick for this, I'm going to surprise everybody right here. I'm going with 4th rounder Cade York, kicker out of LSU. Like I said, he's going to be a guy that could be in Cleveland for the next 15 years. And if you take somebody in the 4th round and they're with you for 10 to 15 years, that's a success to me. That's a huge success to me. So the addition of Cade York is absolutely huge for them. I'm really excited to see what he can do for this team and what he can add to the special teams room. So my best pick is Cade York. And overall draft grade, ready for this?
I'm ready.
I give him a B. I give him a B.
You give him a B.
Solid B.
I do like that
Solid B.
solid B.